and welcome to the Summer School Reunion. Yes, we're talking about the 1987 mega hit Summer School. This reunion today, brought to you by Streamily.com, is going to reunite 6 of our favorite characters from this classic. I am so excited. I rewatched Summer School today in preparation for this panel, and I got to tell you, the movie stands up. It is as hilarious as it was, when it came out in 1987. So today is going to be a really fun panel. Before we get going, I wanted to let you know about a couple of things. As I mentioned, this panel is brought to you by Streamily.com. And guess what? You can get your summer school merch. Yes, that's true. All the actors you're going to see today on the panel are offering autographed 8x10s, group group signatures from the show, movie stills, and you go to streamily.com/summer school. You can select your merchandise there, and then even better than just getting the merch, you get to watch it sign live. Yes, you tune in at the right time on the talent's Instagram or Facebook. It'll let you know on each page where they're signing, and they will dedicate that 8x10 just to you live. It's a really fun experience. So I hope you guys will check out all those individual signings. And without further ado, I think we should start our summer school reunion. All right, up first, I would love to introduce you, Dean Cameron, who played Chainsaw. Come on out, Dean.
Hello. Am I muted? I'm not. Good. Hi.
You are not muted. You are right here for the whole kit and caboodle of the hour. So welcome. Next, I would love to bring out Patrick Labateau. He, of course, played the football jock, Kevin. Hi, Patrick.
How you doing, guys? Hey, Dean.
Hi, Patrick.
I love your wallpaper. That's great.
Yes, it is classic wallpaper from the Biltmore Hotel at the it's the Kennedy Suite.
Oh,
it matches the underwear I'm wearing.
Right. That is Dean. That's private information. All right. Without any further ado, Kelly Jo Minter, and of course she played Denise. Come on out, Kelly Jo.
Hello.
How are you today?
Hi,
I'm doing great. You know what? I'm just happy to see these guys again.
This is going to be a really fun hour. I could tell in the preview this was a cast that really got along. Next, we have Kent Olant, who played Larry. Of course, Larry, we all know he was the male stripper. So hi, Ken.
Hi, guys. Yeah, that's Ken with a T.
How are you doing today, Ken?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much, Claire. It is Claire.
Yes,
yeah.
It is Claire. That's right. And next we have Fabiana O'Danio. Come on out, Fabiana. She played Anna Maria.
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything. Okay, look at the chat, and we'll have someone try to troubleshoot you there.
I can't hear anything.
I hear you.
And as we work on that issue, we will have our techs backstage work on that issue. Let's bring out Richard Horowitz. Of course, he was the geek in summer school. Come on out, Richard. Where are you?
Richard Horowitz.
There he is.
Horowitz.
The geek? I wasn't the geek, Claire.
I think you still are a little bit.
I was the smart one.
You did. You ended up getting what in the 70s on your?
Yes, I got in the 70s. I am an Ekian.
Well, first of all, we're working on Fabiana's hearing issue, so we're going to have our backstage folks try to do that. But I would love to hear, out of all 5 of you, have you seen the movie recently? And if so, what were your thoughts on 1987 Summer School and how it holds up in 2022? And we can start with you.
With who?
You, Dean.
Well,
yes, actually, Richard Horowitz and I were just invited to a screening of it at a theater for an actual human people, and it held up, and it was nice to see. And
an actual film print. It was
film print, very scratchy.
Very scratchy.
But yeah, it was neat to see in a theater with people, and they laughed at it with it. And half the people there had not seen it before, which means they did not have cable in the 90s. So
And Dean
cool.
brought his son, and I brought two of my sons to see it. And I think I don't even know if my kids had ever seen it all the way through, but they, it was good to see it in front of an audience. And Dean and I, backstage before we did a Q&A, said, "Wow, I'm surprised that those jokes still hold up. They still hold up."
I'm going to be a bit of a contrarian here. I watch it every Friday, and it's just not holding up anymore. After the first couple thousand viewings, it's good, but
Yeah, there's some holes. Like, this guy Larry. No, I watch it whenever it comes on.
My favorite thing is I said to Dean after watching it, it all wraps up so neatly. Denise is going to get that help for her dyslexia.
Yep.
And everybody, I'm 4 days sober. Everyone just all wraps up. It's like the 1980s. Oh, chainsaw.
It does wrap up. And Fabiana, now you can hear us, right?
Yes, now I can. I don't know what
Okay,
happened.
now we can officially welcome you. Welcome.
What?
Thank you. Thank you.
I bet she's wishing she couldn't hear us at this point.
Yeah.
Could you hear me? I didn't even know if you guys could hear me.
We can hear you.
We
We
could.
could.
Oh,
Yes, so we're good. I'm glad that worked out. And now if you just turn your camera back the way it was, that would be great. Yes. Jackie,
Revert.
it's
No,
one
you're
thing
good.
after
You're
another.
good. You're good.
So talking about the movie, I love the scene, and Dean, especially you guys kind of kick off the scene where you come in and you meet the teacher and you guys all introduce yourselves. You sort of like, it's sort of like, well, why are you here? Well, why are you here? Well, what are you doing? It looks like it was a lot of fun to shoot that scene. It looks like you guys were truly having a good time. Do you have any memories of that specific section of filming?
Well, all of the stuff at the school, I mean, the whole movie was just a joy to shoot. And I think it shows. We all really got along really well, except for that one guy. And we had a really fun
Right here, I
time.
can hear you.
What?
I can hear you.
And the main memory I have of all the school stuff was when Kirstie Alley, there was like a week overlap where Kirstie Alley was shooting with us, and we played Simon Says at lunch just about every day. And Kirstie would say, "Can I play with you?" And I would be leading the Simon Says, and I go, "Yeah, Kirstie, just stand over there." And she'd stand over there and say, "You're out." I didn't say Simon Says. So that was the sort of fun stuff we had.
I think Carl Reiner, just for us all to be in the presence of Carl Reiner,
Yeah.
Was a huge treat that you don't really find today. People don't get that opportunity, I don't think, to have that kind of iconic comedic mind. At the same time, the respect of the industry, there's no one that had a problem with Carl Reiner.
Yeah.
And whatever he wanted, he got on set from the studio, and always it was appropriate. It was family friendly, and it was engaging, and he allowed everybody so much room. One particular scene was when Rich loses his seat to Fabiana, right? And he goes off and he does this incredible Hulk impersonation of ripping his sleeves off. I mean, it's like it's a performance in and of itself. And then he goes back down, and I just watched Carl just run it, just keep running these. He let it go. He didn't stop it. It was
I
wonderful.
forgot about that.
You remember that?
I forgot about
Get out.
And it was also, because of Carl, it was also an incredibly relaxed shooting schedule. We'd only shoot like 9 or 10 hours a day. He would say, it's just a movie. There's no reason for us to kill ourselves. And so the working hours it spoiled me. It was my first movie. I thought, oh, movies are awesome. You just start at 9 and you leave at 6. This is great.
There was one scene though that got dangerous, and that was when we were watching you and Gary throw the cantaloupes in the air. They were wired.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In deference to Fabiana, and I was standing next to Carl and George Shapiro, his manager, and we were just off of there's a walkway in Malibu where the house was being shot, and then behind us was the beach, and this is at night. And when those things,
Oh man.
Well said.
Enough said.
that hit me right in the face.
Yes, it did. Hit you in the eye. I
Hit me
remember
right
that.
in the eye.
Eye. Yeah.
And I was
remember.
right next to a lamppost, and I remember Carl going, "Great! Oh, that's awesome! Oh my God!" Over to me. You know, you're like trying to be tough and cool. I can take it. I can drive home with one eye. I'm all right. You know, it's cool. But yeah, that was just kind of like hearing the pop and then whack right in the face.
Yeah, I remember
That was
that.
the only dangerous part.
For me, I honestly, people, I mean, I've had the opportunity to do some cool movies, and summer school people, there's not a week where somebody is not asking me about that movie.
It's
Not a
true.
week.
Well, Kelly Jo, I gotta say, you look exactly the same. I mean, you logged on, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, there she is!" And
Well, thank you.
the delivery of your lines was so on point. I want to know how you connected with, Denise, your character, and how you sort of like approached the role.
Well, this, like what Kim was saying, everybody, it was just a vibe. We just came together. It wasn't like, oh my God, I was a grip before I did this. Okay. So don't let me tell you that I did some no. And I am kind of dyslexic. So that did help. But I just think these incredible actors who are so natural, they just brought the shit. And it's like, it just makes you want to perform. At least that's what I was just playing off them because they were so good.
Kelly, you're
And
so
people
real
think-
too. This whole class is full of ignorant.
Yes.
People think comedy is like, you gotta the timing, and I don't know about all of that. All I know, I'm just vibing with people.
Mm.
And these people had the juice, and that's what I went off of. And of course, Carl was a great director, but he set that mood, like Dean was saying, and it was just, I couldn't believe this was work.
Right.
You know what we did? There was a lot of juice on set, but the fact is that Kelly, you did bring the flavor, no question about it.
Oh,
You know, there's a lot of seriously, we're all pretty much cut out, guys, but you absolutely were authentic and fun and real, and just brought such a heartfelt quality to your character. I think yours was at the deepest resonance with people. Was really your situation, nobody else's. Truly.
Yeah, because your person's full of
thank you,
damn
but
tampons.
But that scene
True.
with Barry and Dean, people, I mean, they know the lines. They're doing it. It's like, what?
That's absolutely my favorite
To
scene.
this day,
That's my favorite scene.
hilarious.
You and Dean.
I pride myself on knowing the lines.
No, yeah.
I want to encourage people, if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching it, you can leave your thoughts, or if you have a question, you can leave that in the comments. Some of our staff can aggregate those over to us, so we'll get to as many questions as we can. And while your internet is good, Fabiana, what were your first thoughts when you read this like crazy script? Could you picture it in your head when you first read? And really, this is for everyone, but sometimes reading is much different than the final result. Well, there she goes. So everyone else can answer. What were your initial thoughts when you read the script?
Well, I think for me, what was really interesting is I had done a movie with Harmon called Prince of Bel-Air. It was also with a young actor by the name of Dean Cameron. And so Mark had called me in, and I was reading for Larry, the stripper, and I did my read. And then they asked me to dance. And so I danced. And they said, congratulations, you're playing the football player. So that's how I got the part.
True.
Well, we might as well ask about, Ken, your audition for Larry. Were you required to dance? And
Absolutely.
Then what was it like? I mean, I got to say, you were really good in that scene. So tell us about the prep and the process, I guess, if you will.
So
I got to
did
see
have
the
to
prep, and it wasn't that pretty.
Well, it turned out just fine.
That's how I met Ken. I walked in the
the prep.
makeup. I walked
Yeah,
into
I know
the
Harmon
makeup
kept saying,
shaving Ken in places I should not say.
See, that's what Harmon spread that rumor. He spread that rumor that had to be done. Well, I know everyone's going, what are you talking about? We'll just leave it at that. So I did, when I read for, it was Penny Perry, right? We read for Penny
Yeah.
Perry was
Yeah.
casting.
Yeah.
And Carl was in the room. Fortunately, my wife at the time was a dancer, and like for shows like Fame and music videos and that kind of stuff. And one of her good friends was the choreographer of the movie, Tony Fields, who has passed on. Anyway, so he was a good friend. So I was getting a lot of pointers on how to move. And then the one move that I had, the swoop, and that was helpful. But when I did read for Carl, we did get into the strip part, and he goes, "Okay, that's enough. That's enough." I was stripping kind of close to him, the moves. But when actually I didn't have much to say in the movie, but when we did the one scene with Mark, when he finds me in the strip joint or the ladies club, Carl gave me the best kind of line reading. He says, when you say, when you're talking about, knowing what you know then and that you know it now, say it like you're a spoiled child and you're being kept from your candy.
Nice.
So I was like, well, I know. Like, come on. How do you, it's like just perfect kind of, direction too for Mark to respond off of, which is good. Yeah, it was a good time. To have women paid to paw at you, man.
How long did it take to shoot that scene? How many takes did they require?
I think we only did that in the morning in Northridge. We shot it in Northridge at a nightclub. And I think it was basically just much of the morning, really, the strip scene. Then we went into the dialogue with Mitzi and with Mark, and I forgot the other actress who was there. But yeah, it was more about the dialogue than the strip scene. But that took up the morning, and it was a lot of fun.
Hey, Ken, I want to say that was like maybe one of the first things that was shot, wasn't it? Like first day?
Yeah, it was. It was very early on in the movies, I recall. Yeah, we got that out of the way. I think, we do that with nudity. If a guy doesn't want to just show his butt, they got to get rid of him, replace him fast. They knew they had you in the background. So there was... Sign that nudity writer. Okay. Yeah, no. What cool thing about the character also, because it relates to the body cast that I had, that body part with all the guts hanging out. Mm-hmm. That was Rick Baker who ran the special effects and created all the stuff for us. He pulled that off of a movie called Videodrome with James Woods.
Oh,
so I'm getting to use a piece of Hollywood history right there.
I didn't know.
For my guts. It was kind of cool.
That was a great scene where when they were bringing in the new teacher and everybody, Chainsaw, you obviously masterminded this thing. And it was really like high production value, I thought, for 1987. Watching back now, what was it like in getting ready for that scene and sort of, having fun with the blood and gore of that moment?
Dean, for you, baby.
I since I was in no makeup, I got to come about 3 hours later than everyone else did. So I just showed up and did my stuff, but everyone else had to have prosthetics on and stuff like that.
I think Shawnee had the wildest one, didn't she?
Yeah,
the ruler in the mouth.
Yeah.
Right.
Chainsaw or chain.
I was always jealous.
She was running in with blood splattered over everything.
I was always jealous of everybody's their horror stuff, because mine was just a saw blade in my head, but the saw blade had been like sprayed and dulled, so it like matched the color of my hair, which was a wig, by the way, because it was connected to the wig, and then it connected here, and then they did just like a prosthetic place where it goes into the skin, and Carl said it doesn't read, so when you see me coming out of the thing holding it like this, it's so that you can see that it's a saw blade in my head. Yeah, wow. It didn't read because it was too dark with my hair coloring.
Just look like a mohawk.
What color my hair is now.
Kelly, what you had? So you were screaming, covered in blood, come running. And you described everything going on, right?
Yeah, like you know what? The crazy part of that movie. Like I said, I just think it's all the people coming together. it was so much fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everybody was nice because everybody you work with in Hollywood is not nice.
Mhm.
They're not.
No.
And I mean,
Patrick.
and
What?
Like
I
Mark
mean,
Harmon.
you
Mark
know
Harmon.
what I mean. You guys have all worked in this business forever, and it's, you know what I mean. Some people, but it's like genuinely nice people. Here we are. We haven't talked to each other in umpteen years, but we can get right back on it
Mhm.
because you know, good people. Like we made history there. Summer School is one of those movies.
Very true. You know what? I just want to say there was a thing for Carl Reiner not too long ago where he was being honored at, I think, the Directors Guild or Directors Academy. And because he was writing his memoirs, he knew that things were changing for him mentally. And so he wanted to remember as much as he could. And there was an honoring of him there. And I knew of that, who was running it. And I asked them specifically, can I go there? I just want to thank Carl for, you know, particularly for, it was a huge impact for me personally, because not on an acting level, but because I wanted to be an ice hockey player since I was a kid and I didn't make it. But all the NHL players that I got to go and hang with and play with that became my heroes, younger though, that was their movie. That was their Porky's, if you will. Like ours was Porky's. This was their movie. And because of that, it was really special to bond us for those guys. And I just want to thank him particularly. I mean, Dean had the meat and Rich too, as well as Patrick. You guys had like a lot to do and a lot to you know, your characters were strong and integral, very important in a lot of parts of the movie. And that really, you know, added to the credibility that Carl was able to, you know, shepherd and take, because these guys are funny guys.
Yes.
And it's not easy to work with someone like Carl. I mean, if you're intimidated. But Carl didn't intimidate anybody, and these guys shine beautifully, right? And then Kelly, just as Kelly, and that's what's just so that character was really real and fun, and the dialogue, what you put out there from you with that dialogue, like Jeff wrote. Let's face it, it's pretty funny stuff, right? And you made it happen. I just got to sleep and strip, so it's kind of cool.
And you know what's funny when you say I didn't know you wanted to play hockey, Ken.
Yeah.
But Mark gave me a jersey from the Rangers. Of course, you know, I'm from Compton in real life. I didn't know what the Rangers were. I'm like the Rangers, okay. And it was a jersey of somebody, I guess, that hit some kind of crazy goal. But Mark Harmon and Kirstie Alley, super, super nice. I mean, like, you know, I've seen Mark later on, like that dude is like super nice person.
Yeah.
Very supportive.
You know what? Yeah. I want to say real quick, man, I don't want to dominate. I just want to say about that. Mark called everybody up
The night before
the day the movie went out to be out in theaters when it was premiered in theaters. Mark called each one of us up and said, "Hey, break a leg, your movie's coming out."
Yeah, he did.
Who does that?
Mark.
And I remember saying to him, "How did you get my number, you bastard?"
Yeah.
Never call me again.
Well, there weren't cell phones back then, so he actually had to get it, dial a number, landlines.
So, Richard, we talked about Kelly Jo's character sort of being like very honest and grounding for the film, but I felt like
close to mine. Here we go, Claire.
You were so endearing, and I felt like you were the heartstrings of the movie a little bit, you know? So tell me about your approach to the role and sort of how you built out that genuine like optimism in him.
Wow. You know, Claire, thank you for that. I never even really thought about that, but you know, I was, you know, you were asking about the script, and I hadn't read the whole script. Literally, I was the last one cast on the film. Everyone had been cast, and they were already going into rehearsals. And I got a call from my agent one day, and they said they need a part of the nerd, and I was like on a role as the nerd. That was just kind of my niche at the time. I was on a series called Safe at Home on WTBS, where I was playing a nerdy character. And so I literally went into Penny Perry's office, and Carl was there. And Carl said, I'm going to read with you. And like, okay, you know, and I did my scene with him, and I hadn't even read the script, and Carl stood up and went, "Get out of here. You're perfect." And he walked out. And I didn't know what to expect. I got home. I had gotten the offer to do the film. And as far as Alan Ekian is concerned, it was really well written. It was really well written is why the endearing part of that character came out. And so I'd like to say that it had something to do with some sort of a actor's choice on my part, but it was all in the writing. And it was all in these guys. And Kelly was really easy to play opposite of, especially in that scene. I'm really proud of that scene where she asks Ekian, "Can you look at this?" And I look at it, and then I say this to Mr. Shoup, "Can you look at this?" But you can't tell, I told you. Because other than that, it was, you know, there was a lot of real shticky stuff, you know, that I wasn't always proud of looking back at the film. And Dean and I, some years ago, did a commentary on the film, and I said to Dean, I really had trouble watching that sometimes because it seemed really broad on my part. And Dean said, "It was the 80s." That was it. It was the 80s.
Yeah, but that's
No, I agree. It was the feel good filmmaking decade, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what another thing this film taps into. The audience can be very forgiving when you really feel good watching something, you know?
Yeah, that is nice. And Dean made a pretty good, he made a really astute observation once about the music in shows. Dean, tell them about how the music when we were young, what the music was, that now our music is now the retro music in movies today. Remember you said that thing about like when we were in movies, it was all movie music from the 50s and 60s.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, and now,
yeah. What you just said.
a great
I agree
parent
with you.
partner,
I agree with you. Agreeing with me.
great scream, everybody. I especially love Fabiana's comments.
Where is Fabiana? I don't see her.
She had enough of us.
Oh, man.
She's still struggling with her internet issues.
She's
so
smart.
We
Okay.
cross our fingers. She'll be back.
Someone in the house keeps picking up the phone and disconnecting.
Yeah.
Internet.
Hey, can I just say something? Rich, regarding what you said about the stickiness and the comedy, you delivered it masterfully.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, you really did. I know it was sticky stuff that we all had to say back in the 80s. I mean, on every level of those shows where they were, a lot of these things were not on the level kids are used to today, we produced lately in terms of reality but your timing. Your timing and all that stuff just carried that so beautifully. Really.
I'm gonna blush and I'm a blush.
That's hard to do right now. There's so much light on you.
I know. It's not enough.
Can I butt in here and give you a real life story about how classy Richard's comedy is? So we shot out in the valley, and right near the school there was this gas station that we would all fill up our tank with and drive home. And for some reason, Richard had a hair about this long, a special makeup hair that he had placed inside his nose. So this hair was coming from here to here. He left it in, and at the gas station, he's filling up his car with this hair about an inch thick all the way down below his mouth, acting like it's totally normal. So I don't want to hear anything about, oh, the movie was sticky, and I just can't believe it. That's you in your heart.
I had done it on the set, and Carl laughed, and I said, "This is what happens when you trim a nose hair. They just grow back longer." And we shot that. We actually shot that in one of our scenes. It was the movie watching scene. We actually filmed that. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I never knew that.
Classy.
Yeah.
Classy.
It is.
It's right up there with Rubber Duty.
Fabiana.
I'm back.
Yes.
Yay.
How long had you been here before you got that part?
Not long. I was in New York for a year doing a soap opera. Then I came here and I wanted to stay. I was in love. And just maybe a couple months
That's
later.
so weird. Your act doesn't sound like New York.
right?
Well, I think it's been 37 years. You can drop the fake accent now, Fabi.
Right.
Yeah, really.
No, I
You're
don't have one
Jersey.
anymore. I don't think I have it anymore. But so yeah, a couple months, and that was the movie that really allowed me to stay in this country for, till now, mostly. So I'm very grateful for that experience. But this experience today has been a little bit like being in the movie, because my English was good and I was understanding, but comedy is one of the things that it's really hard to pick up in another language. So all this, the joking around that was going on the set, I could get maybe 30% of it. And today it was the same. Like I would laugh and you guys were joking, and then I'm completely disconnected and I'm going, what's going on? Not only so it was like weird in a way, this experience today. It was a little bit like being with you guys and Dean and Gary and them joking, and then me getting some of it and some of it not really. So
It's so perfect, isn't it?
Yeah. Ironically, it just was the same, and I'm in and out, and being sort of the foreign exchange student, doing the test, not doing the test, going to the beach and whatever. Today is like a little bit of that, I'm in and I'm out. Maybe if I'm not there, nobody cares. It doesn't matter. I don't have to take the test. I don't have to be in. So whatever. Yes.
What I asked you this earlier before you had a technical difficulty, but I am very curious, with English being your second language, and especially, in 1986, 87, when you read the script, probably 86, what did you understand what the movie was going for? Did it make sense? Or were you just like, okay, I'm just going to do this movie?
I did understand what the movie was going for. There were some things that I, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie and all those references that I worked on it a little bit beforehand, so I would understand more. I researched Carl Reiner, and the idea of summer school is not something that we have in Europe. But I researched that too. What did it mean? The foreign exchange student idea. There weren't, when I went to high school, that we didn't have those in Italy. Nobody came as a foreign exchange student. So that too, the whole idea. But some of the things that I represented were very much like being on the beach so freely with the that's something that really was happening in the 80s in Europe. It was natural for anybody. You didn't have to be young or old. For anybody, if you wanted to, you sunbathe topless, and it was an experience that I actually had previously. I was here in 1984 with a theater company, and I was staying downtown at the Bonaventure Hotel, and it was summer. It was the Olympic Festival in 1984, and I was there, and it was summer, and I'm lying on the sunbathing, and it was on the top of the Bonaventure Hotel downtown in LA, and I lie down and I do take the top off, and then a little bit later I see guards coming towards me. True story. And I've always been kind of like, so there are people that are comfortable walking around topless. I was, but when you lie down, you don't want the tan line, so you take it off. And this security came over to me, and I covered myself just because security guards, and then they told me, no, you can't do this here. And I was really surprised, and I felt so embarrassed, and I didn't know. So whatever happened in the movie was actually something that had happened to me. And it's pretty realistic of what was going on in Europe at the time, and the differences between here and there. So, yeah.
Well, you were fantastic.
Same thing happened to me at the Bonaventure. Yeah. It's weird.
What?
Let's go back to you talking about your lack of acting experience, if you want to say, before the movie, and being a grip to being like one of the leads. What was that transit? How did that happen? We'll dig in a little bit.
Oh my gosh. You know what? It was crazy. And she's now a big time casting director. I was working on the Universal lot, and they were casting this movie Mask. And I wound up getting this part. I couldn't believe it. I said, you guys, I'm going to do this movie with Sharon and Sam Elliott. They're like, yeah, get your ass over there and get that light. Can I pick up this HMI light and help move it up? It was unbelievable. First of all, I couldn't believe how much money I was getting paid. Yeah, I can do that shit. You know what I mean? I'm motivated. Like I said, I grew up in the hood. I know how to that's what it is. I think when you grow up with 9 sisters and brothers, you know how to manipulate situations. So it was a natural for me, and they were incredible people. I mean, they totally embraced me. You can't say nothing bad about Cher or Sam Elliott. That was my first acting role. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. And then going from that and then going to this movie, it was like, I know now that's not what it really is, but those are indelible things that I'll never forget these people. And people always ask me about them, and you know, keep it real. I haven't worked with them. I've worked with Shawnee since then, but you know, it's just it's my history, and you know, I'm so grateful that I was a part of it, really, because I mean, I was there was some hard times there, and it just opened up so many doors for me, really did.
Look at you now. You even color matched the signs here with your hat. I mean, you're color coordinated. Look, just everything you do is good. You do.
You know, I'm just like I said, guys. I'm grateful. I mean, that I've had this experience. Not everybody can. And this was the time you didn't see a lot of women of color in films. I mean, I was going back to back to back to back, but it's like I think I trained that. I mean, I was getting movies. They weren't written for Black or women of color. It was just like you get in there and you vibe with the people and you make it come to life. So I was very, very lucky to have had work with all the people that I worked with, you know, because it's, you know, it's what it is. But that section of my life, I mean, because Ken has gone on to produce and do all kinds of stuff. Patrick has done all kinds of stuff. I mean, Richard, I was just hitting him up the other day because people are like, oh my God, your voice. I mean, I know who you are, but I mean, he's a master at that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's like, oh, well, Kelly, I'll put you on when you're ready. But when I come to somebody, I'm going to be bringing it. I'm not like, oh, no. I'm representing you. So it's like, I don't just come out with my hands out. I'm going to come out to her. So, yeah.
I'm waiting. I have the booth right here. We'll throw you in there.
All right.
I love that. I think that would be awesome. Where would your character, let's do a fun little hypothesis. Where would your characters be, 35 years after the movie? What would they be? What would Larry be doing? Ken, is he still in the clubs?
If he's still alive by now. Well, cool. Larry, that's a good question. What would I'd probably be a personal trainer. I think Larry would probably have been a personal trainer, and not amounted to a whole lot. To be honest with you, I just think that he probably would have been like, hang on just a second here. Throwing out in the vine. Dean, I'm gonna try something funny.
Sorry.
I think he'd probably been a personal trainer, something along those lines. I don't think he'd be. I mean, if you want to write for like a movie to do a sequel, like something like that. Yeah, then probably he'd be like Ness Lessman, he'd look, he'd be running a club and something like that.
I think Larry would have parlayed a successful porn career into successful porn directing career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
love it. Keep it right.
That's going really close. Really, really close.
Push it in. Yeah, no.
Really.
Perfect. Change everything. Hold it. Yeah. Porn. Interesting concept. Yeah. So maybe we'll get to Patrick, who seems to be in a porn house right now.
That's right. I believe that Kevin would have just passed his sergeant's test in Reseda, California, and be working for the LAPD.
That's probably true. You know what? I could see that.
He's had a failed marriage. His son never, his son washed out in college ball, and he's a cop in Reseda.
He's a cop in Reseda.
I know that cop. I feel like.
Yeah, that's right. Kelly would know that cop.
You need that cop. You want that cop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Richard, what about you?
Well, I'm thinking, Ian, I think we all would agree that he would be a lawyer, and that he would be, also playing pickleball every chance he got.
Yeah, makes sense.
Life imitates art.
Not unlike I'm a huge pickleball fanatic. I play 3 or 4 times a week.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Well, they put the pickleball courts in near us where we don't
I
have
know,
to say
yeah.
where.
Yeah, exactly. Because before you have to tape it off.
Richard is saying pickleball, yet everyone is telling me I'm in a porn den.
Pat, you're like a porn producer right now.
Yes.
Say,
Kelly
Dean?
Joe?
It's all about the margins,
Uh-huh.
baby. The margins.
Well, I think Denise is doing exactly what Kelly is doing now, because I didn't come very far from that. So I'm motivated.
Doing a Streamily thing.
Huh?
She'd be doing a Streamily thing.
Doing a Streamily right now.
Denise is she would have done well because she was able to be around supportive people.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't have that support. And she just wasn't in one type of high school. You know what I mean? I think she would have done well. Done well.
Mhm. I agree.
Why not? You know?
Well, at least she's honest.
Because even having dyslexia, so many people, there's so many famous people that have it. And like I said, I even switch letters and in words sometimes. But I think those are the most creative people. And if you surround yourself around people that want to make your dream happen, and that's the whole thing. What I'm saying about this cast, these people, you know what I mean? I've talked to Ken. I'm like, Ken, this is your whole studio right here. I mean, this is a motivator. People don't know the backstories of these actors and what people have done and what they do behind the scenes and the generosity. Oh, okay, you call somebody, guess what? They're going to call you back.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that says a
good.
lot.
That's one thing about this film. We were able to all kind of stay connected in many ways, like Rich and Dean have made a YouTube show and developed and produced, continue with comedy as well as Patrick's been involved with them too, both of them. When I was producing, I got to hire Dean and Rich.
Yeah. We did
yeah.
Storm was really good. It was a good film.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
Movie.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it was good. UFO Productions, I believe, was it?
UFO, Unified Film Productions. Yeah,
Unified Film.
Where's Chainsaw at, Dean? I want to know where Chainsaw's at.
I think Chainsaw became a head of a studio.
Dean is the reason I had a fan. Christmas always puts the other movie.
Nice.
That's great.
You have contributed to someone's education. How do you feel? Huge.
I'm
I
glad I
think
helped.
that BBC on Multiple Choice Question did become like an urban legend after, you know what I mean? That was really something that carried through and was impactful, probably for a lot of students for many years.
Well, fun fact: my father was a high school teacher. Well, he's alive, but he was a high school teacher. And every year during finals, a student would scream, "Attention breaker had to be done."
Mm.
And sometimes without knowing that he was my dad. So I just know that sort of meme spread through some high schools somewhere. So that's cool.
I think Fabiana would be an airline stewardess
Before they're
flying away and coming back.
No, I actually think maybe Anna Maria would be, considering how well she was playing off of two guys pursuing her, she would be maybe the owner of a dating agency or a Match.com or online dating site.
I think she would be a movie star. I think she'd be a movie star. I think
a movie star.
model.
Sophia Loren.
There was a scene that was cut.
Oh no! Yeah, wait, come back. There you are. Okay.
Fabiana.
Wait, we can hear you. Can you hear us now?
We can still see you.
We see you.
We see you.
Oh man.
We see you. Oh,
I'm
wait, you-
hoping. I'm
Her
hoping someone
mic-
in our back
And there
back
she
of
goes,
house
ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
reach out and help her.
She was
Wondering
deported,
how
actually. I understand.
Fabiano looks. It's possible she's broadcasting from the 80s.
Mhm. You know, it's interesting, Kelly Jo.
You're wrong.
Kelly Jo, you bring up how everybody has gone on to have, you know, a lot of success in different areas of their life. And I just like, maybe we can talk about that with each of you for a minute. Richard, I know we can start with your transition over to voiceovers, and you know, you threatened to throw Kelly Jo in the booth, and I think you should, because she
Yes.
would be fantastic. But why don't you talk a little bit about the difference between, you know, coming on camera versus behind a mic?
I was kind of chased behind a mic, to be honest with you, because when summer school came out, we were right in the middle of a Writers Guild strike that was really kind of crippling to a lot of us. And when we came back, we couldn't really capitalize on summer school because it had already came and went by the time the strike was over. And so I would read for a lot of things. And I did a lot of other films, like low budget films, Boy with a Ray Gun, you know, How I Got into College and things like that. But then I kept getting this critique from my auditions. He doesn't sound like he looks. He doesn't sound like he looks. So my voice at that point, in my opinion, became a hindrance. And so I started walking around doing this, like, hey, I'd like to read for this part. And it just wasn't me. And a friend of mine that I had done that series with, Safe at Home, said, hey, you know, our agent has a voiceover department. Why don't you do that? And I'm like, and I'm like, okay. And it just took off from there. And I've been very fortunate that, you know, I've had a good voiceover career for 30 some years now. And in addition, I coach and I direct, I voice direct. So yeah, I mean, it was a godsend, because I was walking around going, I don't know what I'm going to do, because this is my voice. I still read for things. Dean helps me a lot with that. And Dean would say, don't do that thing with your voice. Just be you. Over and over again. He'll say it over and over again. So I'm very grateful for all my friends. Dean and I particularly spend a good amount of time together these days. And I think we help each other with our creative outlets, which is really important. So that's my life. That's how I got into voiceover, and I'm really grateful for it.
And Dean, when I was researching you, it's like, wow, he's been on every show I've ever watched. So you just you make the rounds with all your friends' shows, I feel like. Any favorite projects that you've had, you know, over the years stand out? I mean, I would imagine summer school would be one. Anything else that sort of stands out as a marquee, fun project or something specific?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Pat Lasso and I wrote a feature film that got made in around 2000 called Hollywood Palms, and it's something I'm super proud of. Around 2000 Hollywood.
I think that, Pat, did you unplug? Yeah, put your earphones back in.
So Hollywood Palms I'm really proud of. I just did, or not just did, I did a couple episodes of Goliath that I'm happy with. But yeah, you know, I've been kicking around. I stopped for a while and was working as a programmer for about 10 years and just came back to chasing the showbiz carrot about, I guess, 15 years ago. So, you know, it's fun. I like doing it. It's fun. And
You're good at it.
Oh, thank you. I try.
His reel is really good. If you see his reel, he's, you know, when you move from doing comedy and 80s movies and you go through the years and you see where he's developed, where Dean's developed and really crafted himself too. He's really useful in so many different characters and ways and shows, and this reel really shows it.
That's really nice. Thank you.
Yeah, it's true, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And Pat, you did mention the film you guys worked on together, which I will definitely check out. And you did a 10-year stint on JAG, which is quite different than making a feature film. How was playing the same role for a decade? Oh, now he's gone. What is happening?
He does not like to talk about JAG. Do not talk about JAG. Or he will go.
Get out of here.
Well, we've got Fabiana. Let's ask
I
Fabiana.
am here.
Does
Yes.
not read the writer.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
no Jag talk.
Fabiana, you were telling us about a scene that was cut from the movie before
I
you
was
went.
talking about that. Yes, it was a scene that was cut from the movie where I'm on the beach with chainsaw and yes, and we're going to the water again with a freely take. I think I take my top off, whatever, and we're in the water. It was freezing cold, and they both proposed to me. And I want to marry both of them, or something like along those lines. It was cut, right? Remember, Dean?
Yeah. Oh, what I remember most about that day was that you took your top off, and every executive from Paramount just happened to show up. Like, I think I'm going to go visit the summer school set today.
Oh,
And there's like a line of BMWs parked along the.
Oh, that's fine. I blocked it all off. I was very worried about shooting
Yes.
that scene because one thing is to do it in real life, and one thing is to do it,
Yeah.
on a set or on the screen. But it worked out really well. It was very brief. It was mostly to show the free spirit that she was. It wasn't just to show, and it was explained to me. And of course, Carl Reiner was a class act, and I was very comfortable and everything.
Mhm.
The water was cold, and
Yes.
but anyway, so in that scene, it was freezing. But in that scene, she does agree to marry both of them or something like that, or so that's what made me think about her having a dating service or some sort of a Match.com or something like that when she was older. Something along the lines of getting people together and stuff like that. But yeah.
I love that. Okay, Patrick, I was asking you about your 10-year stint on television when you flew out of here. You want to tell us a little bit about what it's like to play the same role for, and for a long time, much more than just shooting a feature.
It's a dream, and second of all, it destroyed my life.
Okay, I think he said it was a dream, but
No, it's a fantastic, to have. Great to have a job for long. I mean, there's no other answer. Period. To be able, to go. I went on audition because it was a guest starring role on a pilot for a show that was then canceled in its first year and added in the second year. Auditioned one this thing that lasted 10 years. It was just a stroke of luck. And so my only, to any was just don't quit. I hate these TV actors that go, on their 9th season. I'm going to bust out of here or something. It's like, dude, go to your job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Cameron, hello, senior moment. Patrick has an acting training. He teaches acting online.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's very valuable too for young people, particularly. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And that's my only lesson. Go to the audition, get it, and then do the job.
All right.
Every time I look at Patrick, I just think of the very first time I met him. I was at Rick Baker's, and I was covered in plaster for the head mold, and I had 2 straws sticking out of my nose, and I could see out of the eyes. And Patrick was at Rick's after me for his plaster, and I go, Andy Garvey, because I was a huge Little House on the Prairie fan, and I knew every episode backwards and forwards. And there was Andy Garvey, and he hates talking about Andy Garvey. He hates it.
He did it again.
Jag and Little House. Don't mention him. I forgot.
He's in a haunted house right now.
I forgot what a monster Patrick is.
I know. He's such a diva. He is too, right? He's a diva.
Yeah, that's what you're a TV regular. It happens.
It's no fun to be not to hear you guys. It's no fun.
I'm sorry for the technical troubles, but okay, real quick before we begin to wrap up, because we don't have too much time, Ken, why don't you tell me a little bit about, you mentioned the Unified Film Organization that you co-founded earlier. Talk a little bit about that.
Sounds like the dating game intro. Right? Tell us about yourself, Kat. essentially from the movie time of working, I had a couple of TV series, Riptide, Super Carrier, and Super Force. These were, different series. And then I co-founded a company called UFO. We made sci-fi action movies, made about 3 of them a year. And then I sold out of that in 2000 when we were bought by a French distributor company. We were licensors. We make movies and license the rights. And our niche was sci-fi, being a computer-generated imagery that we could then composite with live action. So we were the first to kind of do that on a desktop level. If that makes any sense. So, so from that point on, as life goes on, we all, my wife and I have been married 37 years and have 5 kids. And they're all, my best. You don't need friends, I can make them. We have all these guys. They're really, really impressive and amazing people. And as of late today, 2 things. One is I lead people as last 10 years on motorcycles across the country. I'm a tour guide, tour leader. So I take people from all over the world and they come on Harleys. And we go from say Chicago to LA over 15 days. And it's pretty meaningful when you see people spreading their ashes along, their parents' ashes. They've always wanted to ride Route 66. And you have this group together that's rallying behind that kind of thing. And you're doing it on motorcycles. It's pretty amazing. And the other thing,
so the parents died along the way and then you burn them and then spread their ashes.
It's part of the deal. You get for $9,000, you can get the oven, or you can get the air fryer.
You can also do the thing called the friction drag.
Friction drag, that's right. For those of you who are just, don't have a lot of time.
I don't have a lot of time left.
Can I just go from, say, Oklahoma back to Joplin? And the other thing would be, as you can see how much fun we're having here, this is really what I miss a lot. And so I'm so grateful to be reconnected with Dean and Patrick and Rich and, and now Kelly and Fabiana as well. But I'm really, it's just coming back in. So I've been doing a little bit of that. Was that a finger or butt? I can't tell.
This is butt.
It looked like this. Yeah. So look for me. I've been doing these autograph shows, which is really fun to meet the people, who watch these shows and have great conversations with them about specific things that you get to share. People we've worked with in our careers. I've been really lucky. James Arness, Michael Landon. Some amazing people. We've all had this great chance to work with, these people, and then to share that with the folks who watch the show. It's really fun. But I look forward to doing that. But right now, my life is basically, I'm an empty nester. My wife and I have a dog, and we have an RV. And now we're
Great stuff. You're living the American dream. You're doing what everyone wants to be doing.
Yeah.
This has been an amazing hour. I'm so happy we got to reconnect. I have one more question for you guys, but real quick, I remind everyone, Streamily.com/summer school. Go now, reserve your photos. You will get them signed live. Check out everybody's individual signing dates. And we only have 2 minutes left, but I want to maximize those 2 minutes. In one word, I would love it if each of you could go around and describe what the film means to you now. It can be anything, just one word. I am putting you on the spot a little bit, but I feel like you guys can do it. So who wants to start? Do I go to Richard? Can you start?
Grateful
That's
for that.
good.
It opened a lot of, opened a lot of doors for me. So grateful.
Patrick?
Joyful.
Fabiano?
Destiny.
Dean?
I was going to say joyful. Seriously. Friendship.
Definitely. Kelly Jo?
Blessed.
And last but not least, Ken?
I just say perfect.
Guys, this is your summer school reunion. Thank you, everyone who's tuned in. I hope you have enjoyed this as much as I have. And now it is time to say goodbye. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye.
Good night, Tiff.
Welcome
Love
back
y'all.
now, you hear?